Hi, this is Patsy with a Z. Welcome to Joy on Paper Live, a program for writers and those who dream of writing, and for everyone who wants to know the story behind the book. And today I have a lot of stories to tell you because today I have a very special guest, Andrea Hiotis, and she is an artist and illustrator. And I will say this, a big fan of Joy on Paper. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Patsy. Good morning.
Good
How are
morning.
you?
Oh, I'm fine. It's so nice to see you. And I
It's
I
so
have
good
to
to see
tell
you.
I have to tell everyone that I was a few years back when I discovered that you were journaling Joy on Paper. I was so honored and so thrilled, and you do such beautiful work. And so
Thank you.
so I want to show that you are an illustrator and you've been doing this for a little while. And over the years, I've seen how you've developed as an artist, and it's just amazing to me. So, how did you start watching Joy on Paper, actually listening to the radio program and seeing
Yeah,
some of the shows?
it was way back in 2018, I know, because I have entries in like those typical composition books that you get for 99 cents at the drugstore. I have entries in those books that say they go back to 2018. And I met you because I was in a writers group and I was invited by the skin of my teeth because I wasn't actually published yet to your writers group. And it was wonderful because I went in with a group and it was easier because I wasn't nervous. And I started watching after that. I watched almost all your episodes. In 2020, I started making illustrated episodes because I found that your program feeds my creativity so much that when I'm doing an author's journal page, I have to concentrate on things that I've never drawn before. So it makes me do research and draw them really well. And then that led to me doing research for characters for you and one of your authors, Rita Moreau. And I did characters for her and characters for you, and we would tweak it and go back and forth on the characters that I would make. And I ended up doing characters of people on the show. And I got better at doing faces and portraits and like cartoonish portraits of them. They're a little humorous, and you told me about some books that you were writing, and you one of them was Elizabeth's Garden, and we both loved that because my mother's mother was a British citizen, and you love anything British. You even lived in England. I know you had a cottage that you got when you were 21, and so we hit it off because my mother was British. And I made a tea party for you, which I don't usually do tea parties, but it was fun because I wanted to do it like my English grandmother used to do it, with the teapot and the tea and the cakes and everything. And I had my friends over, and you actually came to my house, and that was a thrill. So I've been doing, and then I started doing more and more of the illustrated journal pages, and I have them from 2020 to 2024 now. I even did one recently of Simone, the girl who just turned 15, who I was amazed. She did quite a few movies. She watched a film a day of the Hollywood classic movies, and she would write 3,000 words on each film as she watched it every day for 3 months. And I found that was so amazing. And I told my friend Robin, who is here with me, and I told her about that book, and we were like, we have to watch the Hollywood classics now. So we're going to make that a project because I've done some drawings of Hollywood stars and I've had them in galleries over the years. It just made me want to do more of that and more characters. And your show it's just given me so much. I love it.
Thank you. You are just wonderful, and it's just been such an honor. And I know the authors that you've journaled for, they love what you do. And but before I show you, we'll start off with one of my favorites in a minute. But I just want to show people a few of your books that you've illustrated. It was so much fun when I came to a delightful tea party, and of course, the one in the center is one of my favorites because this is Eliana the iguana,
Thank you.
and it's written by your friend.
Yeah, my friend's daughter wrote it when she was only 16. She just turned 18. And not only does she make up stories, she sings and writes her own songs. I know she has some kind of a hit single out. I don't know the details, but I know she has it now. And she's going to go on to go to college for holistic medicine because her mother's a doctor and she wants to do something to do with medicine too. But she writes and she's really fun, and she's fun to be around because she's always playing her guitar, and my husband plays guitar and they jam together. Sometimes she comes over and they jam on their guitars. And she loves it because she learns from him. She goes, "Oh, I can learn from him. I want to play with him." It's wonderful at my house because my husband's always playing his guitar and he's always singing and he's going to play out and he's going to be in a band and he's going to teach. It's all coming together now.
You have these delightful coloring books that really are so much fun for children. So, do you
Thank
enjoy
you.
doing those ones?
I do. I loved doing Nature's Gifts, a poetry and coloring book for my cousin. She was the one who approached me to do a book. Actually, that was my first book that was actually published. And now that's the one called The Sea Owl and the Council of Animals is in the library. You can get it at the library and you can get Ileana the Iguana at the library too. But she did Nature's Gifts of Poetry. It's one of my favorite books. My priest at my church bought 10 copies. And it's just her first book of poetry. So she never really even wrote poetry before, and it's beautiful. Just beautiful short poems about animals in the woodlands. And I did drawings of all of them for her. And she would send me quick little sketches and ask me to elaborate on them because she lives way out in Washington, Seattle. So, and she's my older cousin, and she approached me. I think she met me through a party that we had for my father when he was like 90. I haven't seen her since, but she's still in touch with me by text. I would tell her
Wonderful.
about this and how this was on here.
I know that you do love animals. I love
Yeah,
these illustrations, but
thank you.
you, they're wonderful. Now, let's start with one of my favorite authors and one of my favorite illustrations that you've done. It's for Jonathan Santlafer, who has been on my
Oh,
radio
yeah.
program so many times. And
Wow.
you and I both love art so much. Uh,
I know you do.
and
You're an artist too.
he wrote this book, The Lost Van Gogh, which I know you love, and you did this
Yeah.
beautiful illustration for him.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes I do pencil first and then I do the ink, almost like a caricature, but not quite. It's like a cartoonish portrait with color. And I'm working on pastels now too, realistic pastels of babies. But this book, I would like to read it actually, because I did read something about Van Gogh just the other day about how he might have been murdered and he didn't commit suicide at all. And they have proof of that because of the bullet wound that went in him was sideways, not front ways. So they said it doesn't look like he did it himself. And there was this kind of creepy kid that was always following him around and playing pranks on him. And they said that he was on the scene when that happened. So that's another theory. I do love Van Gogh. I watch the videos on him when I see them on YouTube. And that's another way of learning about the artists. There's quite a few YouTubes on artists and even authors. There's all kinds of information you can get and you can read about. But I do love the thought of reading this book. A lot of them, I have them in my notebooks like this. And I'm thinking about which ones I'm going to read. And this is one I would read for sure because it's all about Van Gogh. And I love anything on him. My grandmother loved Van Gogh too.
And of course, Jonathan Santlafer also wrote The Lost Mona Lisa. His books are just fantastic. Of course, Jonathan himself is a known artist, and his love of art has really created this wonderful series that he's going to be doing about artists. And I know that he loved this illustration. Now, when
He
you
did.
yes, he did.
Wow, that's amazing. He's a great artist.
He is fantastic
Wow.
artist. You're starting to get a lot of recognition for the work you're doing, and it's wonderful, and it's just heartwarming to see how you listen to the interviews and all of the information that you gather from them. I'm so impressed with you.
Thank you so much.
One of
Okay.
my favorite, of course, is the one that you did for this wonderful. I'll show you the larger version first. Okay, so this one is for Harini Nagendra, and she is an Indian writer, and her book,
Right.
her first book in her series is The Bangalore Detective Club. And I love that book. I love detective stories. It's so much fun to talk to authors from all over the world. I just talked the other day to somebody in Sydney, Australia. And Harini is one of my favorites. And now she has this story about a detective, and you created this wonderful, the wonderful characters for her of
Thank
her
you.
detective.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love doing the characters. I really do. Sometimes when I do one drawing that it develops into a story of my own too, because I can build on doing it from one picture, which is really fun. I went to the Institute of Children's Literature for 3 years in a mail order course of just writing for children. And that was right before I found Joy on Paper. So I was really trying to write. And then all of my writings in the notebook turned into pictures with authors. And I love the authors. They're just great. She makes me want to go to India too. My sister went to India and I've never been there, but she said it was lovely. She loved it.
It's so funny when I first saw it and I said, "Oh, you come out with a detective wearing a sari." This book is set back in the 1920s. She loves the Agatha Christie and her mysteries, the same kind of delightful mystery stories. She's a wonderful writer. And then
Wow.
this one I just love. And this, of course, is Catherine Williams. This is a wonderful book. I just got so thrilled with the way that you saw Weird But True. This is
Thanks. I picked out things that I saw in the book and I decided to draw them and come up with what they would look like. And I actually bought a Weird by True book because of her and this book. And I buy books sometimes at my library and I saw Weird but True. I was right on it. I said, I would like that book for my collection. And she just goes into such cute things. I love the one of the person ironing underwater because it was a world championship contest of some sort where someone had to iron underwater. I thought that was so curious. I've never heard of that before, and that was like really weird but true.
and then
And
I love how you have
yeah,
me there in the corner,
oh,
sitting
I
behind the
always have you.
microphone.
Yeah, oh, you had the microphones then. It was on the radio. So
Yeah,
most of the ones from 20 to 23 or 24 still are on the radio. And I kept the microphone as that kind of a microphone, even though you're on YouTube, because people can recognize it as a microphone. The other thing looks like a round circle. I don't know what it is.
I love it. I think it's
Yeah,
delightful.
I love all the National Geographic books. I love the one you gave me. Where is it? Oh, In the Footsteps of Jesus. That was a beautiful book. And I love all of the National Geographic books because of all the pictures and all the information. And it was by, I think his last name is Isboots.
Yes,
He's
it's
famous.
mhm.
Yeah, he's amazing. He just does so much for everyone to believe in Jesus and religion and Christianity. And I know that's really important right now in our world. So I'm very grateful to have him on my shelf. And you gave me that book. Thank you.
For me, National Geographic is very important. I was raised on National Geographic magazines when I was a child,
Yeah,
and that is really where I started my interest in travel. I still have some of my father's, the ones that my father particularly loved. For me, November is always National Geographic month because I think that one of the best things you can give when you visit somebody at Thanksgiving is to bring them a National Geographic book. At Thanksgiving, after the turkey, everybody's sitting around. You might be watching football. And I think it's so much fun to have National Geographic books there. I like when people take a National Geographic book for Thanksgiving and turn it into a yearbook that everybody who's at the dinner signs in the book. Now, of course, one of my most recent interviews was with, you mentioned her, Simone Elias, and her
oh
book is
yeah,
Old Films, Young Eyes. She is remarkable, and I love all of the wonderful illustrations you made for her because she's 15 years old. She watched these wonderful, wonderful old movies from the Golden Age, wrote a book.
right.
When you look back and you think, what was I doing at 15? Not many of
I
us were actually writing a book.
Yeah, I was doing art. I was going to art classes with my two professional working artists in my hometown. They worked out of their mansion and they had art classes and they had the whole place was geared to art with easels and sculpture studio and I helped out. And when I was 15, I helped to teach the kids in the kindergarten class that they had there. And I would take out the clay and show them how to draw and it was so much fun. And you know how kids love kids, so I was 15 and I was a really good teacher there. They really liked me. And it was great back in those days when I was getting paid for it, which was amazing. I was a little kid, 15. Well, actually, not a little kid. You're a grown up when you're 15, but maybe when you're 25, you're a grown up, really.
Simone started podcasting at the age of 12.
Oh my gosh.
And now she has
Wow.
a very popular podcast, Teenage Golden Age. It's on Spotify and Apple, and it's a
Right.
very
I should write that
popular podcast.
down. Teenage Golden Age.
Yeah.
Nice. I actually, because I found out that she liked Cary Grant was her favorite actor, I proceeded to watch a biography on Cary Grant that was on our television because of that. And Robin and I are going to watch more of the Hollywood classics just because she spurred that interest back up in me.
I will send you her book. I will send you her book. She sent me an autograph book, and so I will send you a book. It will give you
Oh,
some
thank you. Thank you so
ideas
much.
and of the films because she has a wonderful
Right.
selection of films that she watched.
Yes, it's for all ages. It's not just for children. It's great.
The next illustration that you created, this is a very special author to both of us, Barbara
Yeah.
Hinsky. She has a series called Guiding Emily. This was
Yeah.
her fifth book, From the Heart. These
Yeah.
illustrations are just beautiful.
Thank you. She is very special to me because my husband is a story from the heart about a guide dog, really, with a relationship that he has with a woman who goes blind because of a retina eye operation that didn't work out. And that's this basically the story, which was later a Hallmark movie. And I watched the movie with my friend Robin here too. The reason why I'm so interested in it is because my husband, we were facing the fact that he might be blind from two bad eye operations that he had on both eyes. They were retina operations, just like in the girl in the story. So she's spurred my interest in maybe one day getting a guide dog if he actually did go blind. So there's nothing to worry about right now. But in the future, I learned a lot from her movie and I learned a lot from the book. I love the book.
Barbara got a wonderful Hallmark movie from her first book, Guiding Emily.
Mhm.
She's written 6 books in the Guiding Emily series. The Hallmark movie is wonderful.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, it was a great movie. I loved it. And it's great to see how the dog was so endearing. And yeah, she's helped me a lot. She's an inspiration to me, for the future if something really does happen.
She's an
But
inspiration for everybody. She donates money from her Guiding Emily books to organizations for the blind.
so it can be isolating. And she went over that. And it's important to know that just because you're blind doesn't mean you don't want to talk.
Guiding Emily is a wonderful book, and the illustration, you've captured her look there, that great smile she
Uh-huh.
has. I,
Yeah,
I
she's
love
great.
that.
Yeah.
And I could see that you loved drawing the dogs.
Yeah, Garth. Yeah, that was his name. Yeah. I did love drawing the dog. They're so cute.
Yeah.
Because we had a dog growing up. We had a cat growing up. I had a cat.
When I started the YouTube channel, my first guest was Ridley Pearson. And this, of course, is his wonderful book. It's from the Kingdom Keeper's Inheritance series. And I love this book. The cover is beautiful. And then you drew a lovely portrait of him.
I don't know exactly when I did that one. That's amazing. And I
Well,
learned from an animation film thing that I watched about Mickey Mouse that he's made with very simple cones and shapes because they wanted to keep him easy to draw for the animators. Isn't that interesting? Purposely just a few shapes, and it's on purpose so they can do it really easily. Isn't that
and
cute?
it is. Again, you captured him. He's a wonderful author. It's so important that children have books that inspire them. And The Kingdom Keepers is about kids who get locked up in Disney World
Yeah.
at night and all their adventures.
Yeah, and I love the cover on the book.
And
So
I just love how you captured him.
Joy on Papers helps me with likenesses because I make myself do a likeness every time I do a journal page. And then it's helped with my other work that I do through my network group that I'm in, that I've been in for 5 years. And some people in the group have been buying my work, and a lot of times it's portraits. So I've been doing portraits for them and greeting cards and whatever they like. Sometimes it's a painting. It's really nice that I have Joy on Paper to do all my practice for my portraits.
One of my favorites is this one that you did for Tasha Alexander and Andrew Grant. And of course, Andrew Grant is also Lee Child's
Wow.
brother, and he writes under
Right.
the name also of Andrew Child. And you did this one for them. They were on my program together. They've been on my program many times. They
I
actually
know.
guest hosted the program during the pandemic
Yes, I
when I
heard that.
so tell us about this illustration.
It got away from me. I couldn't do it on one or two pages. I had to keep going because it was so interesting what they were talking about and their characters and everything. And it was two of them, so it went on to 5 pages. And it was fun doing the turtles because Tasha gave her husband Drew, or you call him Drew, but Andrew, a vacation to the Galapagos Islands where he got to see his favorite animal, the tortoise. And I think that's an amazing birthday present to give anyone. and it's so amazing. And I learned also in their interview that they have a log cabin, and I didn't put that in the pictures. Oh, I did. I put the log cabin in. Yeah. And it's interesting because the top floor of the cabin is Tasha's studio for writing. And then the bottom is the bedroom and his studio. And he said the living room, I'm sorry, the living room and his studio. He said they have a neutral zone and then they have two studios. And that gave me that idea for us. And so George has a music studio. And then I have two places where I work, either in the kitchen or in the bedroom on a drawing table. And I also have an easel. And we have the living room is like our neutral zone. So we meet there in the middle. It's so cool. I got that idea from them. And
Well,
they are just delightful. Oh, she sent me a book. Oh, she sent me as a gift with an autographed copy of The Dark Heart of Florence, which I read a couple of times because it was so interesting how she does, what's that called when you have two different storylines in
dual
the same book?
storylines, a dual
Dual
storyline.
storyline. Yeah, it's a dual storyline. So I really loved it. It was interesting story. Very good. Very nice to read. And also my reading's getting better because of your show. You know,
Well,
it's not all just pictures. I get to read more, which is wonderful. And my friend gave me a book also she gave me Jane Eyre because of all the reading that I do here. And because you mentioned that you like Charlotte Bronte. I think that Tasha liked Charlotte Bronte too.
oh,
Didn't she
yes.
mention that? Yeah, and she's an English person. She likes English too. Is she English?
No, she's American.
Oh,
Of course, Drew is from Birmingham and he came to America.
oh, that's right. Drew is
That's right.
English.
And they met at BoucherCon, which is a big writer
Wow,
convention every year. And so
that's
there
amazing.
they are, a Brit and an American, and they get married.
Yeah,
And isn't it wonderful that she was writing books about England. She was already writing these Lady Emily books. And so she meets a
yeah,
British
Lady
guy.
Emily.
And
Yes,
next thing she knows, you know, she's married to a Brit. So that's
right. And he came up with that character Jack Reacher that I did a picture of in the bottom left drawing.
Jack
And
Reacher. Yeah,
yeah, he's in
that's
one of the stories.
Lee Child, of course. Lee Child started the Jack Reacher series many years ago. For years, he wrote it all by himself. But then the past few years, he got together with his brother and they were writing the books together. And now Drew is taking over and he's going to be writing all of the books. Jack Reacher is very popular now with the books, of course, are popular and the wonderful streaming series. So I love Jack Reacher and I love the way that they've moved it, transferring the writing over to Drew. Yeah. So,
And I
and
like that they go places and they like to read at different places that they travel to. There's a picture of them sitting on the beach, each of them with a book. That's a nice goal for a writer to travel and read more books.
Exactly, exactly. And they had a lot of time when they went to the Galapagos and they were doing, I think, a lot of reading too on their way. You captured that so nicely. And of course,
You
it's just really great.
There's a book called Slime Magic that I did with my girlfriend. It's hard to see. It's just a reproduction of it. It's not the whole, it's much brighter than this. But my friend did a book called Slime Magic. I did it with her daughter when she was only 10 years old. And she wrote the story and I did the pictures of it. And Robin's right here, so I just wanted to show you that I did a book with her and I do books with children. And I'm always looking for children to do a book with. And yeah, it's got characters in it too. And a story about kids playing with slime and how the slime turns into all different animals at one point, and it ends up that it was all in her imagination at the end. But she made up the story, and I did the pictures, and she'd come over and look at them and okay them. And she's an artist too now. She's 12. She loves anime, but she's also very good at drawing. I saw her sketchbook and even one of her little spiders that she drew. And she's a Florida kid, so they would draw spiders, definitely. I'm not a Florida kid originally. I'm from Long Island now. But
So
this is just the
show the
inside
cover
of the book.
again.
It's just called Slime Magic.
No, this hasn't been published yet.
No, it hasn't been published, but I don't think a book actually has to be published to make it enjoy and give to someone as a gift. I have tons of books that I've done for my niece who's got 7 children, and over the past 7 years, I've given her at least 15 books. They're just little chapbooks. They look like this kind of thing. There's 15 of them. And one of the first ones I did was called Ginger the Giraffe. And it's just paper with yarn and three hole punches, and it's about a giraffe. It's one of the first ones that I did, and I sent it to her, and they all know who Ginger the giraffe is. And I also did her 15 other books that are somewhere on this table. And they're all like this type of thing. And I do make-up stories with children that I know here because I can't see my great nieces and nephews because they're all in Ohio. So I make up stories with children here, like Kathy, Robin's daughter, and another girl, Kaylee, who you met at my house. She's 12 years old now. And we did a story called Humpty Dumpty Retold because she likes to make fairy tales with changes in them. So that's what she's into. And she also writes her own stories now because she's 12 years old and she's a good friend. So I'm thankful because this is a Thanksgiving show. I'm thankful for the show. And I'm also thankful for some very great friends and their kids that I know that I have gotten together with and done books with, like the Ileana the Iguana one in the beginning. I did that with her and her mom, who's a chiropractor, when she was only 16. So I've worked with 8-year-olds, 6-year-olds, even 4-year-olds to make these little chapbooks. And one day each chapbook I could expand it and make the characters even better now that I'm the better illustrator, and I could change it. They're all potential books. And we have a book cover by you.
That's right. You're
Yeah,
doing that for me. That's great.
I'm doing this for you. And it's an octopus that shows what a writer needs to be a writer. And each character that I made up is one is an editor, one is a marketer, one is a publicist. You need a light bulb, you need ideas, you need a publicist, a publisher, and you need a pen, and you need interviews on Joy on Paper or other interviews, and you definitely need a dictionary and a designer. So it shows the characters. I don't know why there we go. Is that better? I'm sorry.
I know that's okay. That's wonderful.
I love this cover, and I've done some other characters for you. I have a character here that I did for you of Catherine Wright, who is a woman. It's pen and ink and gouache.
Sister, the Wright brothers' sister.
The Wright brothers' sister. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at this.
No, that's all right. You have
Robin.
to move it in front of your face a little bit,
Oh, okay. Now you can see it.
a little higher. Yeah, that's it.
What year was she from?
1910.
Oh,
This is
1910. Okay. Yeah, I like doing
1904.
her because of her hat and her flowers. She was really fun to do. And I had a pencil version that I did first. Sometimes I do a pencil, almost all the time I do a pencil version first. That's just to show you the work that goes into it. And this one I'm really proud of. This is for the
Oh,
book of Elizabeth Garden that is close to your heart. And that shows Elizabeth herself and her husband, who she calls the man of wrath. And I think it's so funny. She loves him to pieces and she calls him the man of wrath. And I love my husband to pieces too. And I identified with it. I love the story. It's so much fun. And that's close to your heart. So I wanted to show that one with the birch trees that they're riding through actually the book takes place in
in
Germany,
Germany.
right?
In Germany.
It's her German garden, but she's British. She's English.
She's
And
British.
she has little babies. Yeah, she has little babies. It's a wonderful story. I love the way it's written. And I know it's close to your heart because you've had that book with you since you were, what, 6 years old or something?
7 years
7
old.
years, seven.
It was I was 7 years old. It was the first hardback book I bought, and there she is.
Yeah. And there she is. There's Elizabeth and the man of wrath, her husband. And I had to do research on the furniture of the times and make everything like the clock and things German. So I do research on all these. I did a lot of research for this book, and I'm actually proud of this one. I love this one. And
Well,
then this is the house that she lives in. This is in black and white. She lives in a big house. In England, they call the mansions houses for some reason, but it's a mansion really, and it used to be a convent. It's renovated. So I made up that house and the outside garden. And then I did this character. This is a character of a fortune teller. It's Cookie Lady. That's in the book, right?
that's in a different book. That's in Mary Glickman's book.
Yeah, Mary Glickman's book. Okay, I have Neil. That's just a picture of someone that's an author in a hat. And then I have copies of the characters Irma, a ghost in a story by Rita Moreau.
Lift
And
it up a little. Lift it up a little. That is Irma. That is from, of course, it is from Rita Moreau's books, series of books,
yeah,
and wonderful. That's a wonderful illustration. Beautiful.
thank you. And I did a lot of research on her outfit to make it look a little bit like Carmen Miranda. And then we had more of a plainclothes girl who's in the book. There was Mabel and Lily. This is Lily, and
Hmm.
she had to have a biker chick look. So that's Lily. And then I had to do her in two different outfits. So that's Lily again, another outfit. Here we go.
Yeah,
There's Lily. Okay. And then we had Irma again wearing a different outfit. She's supposed to be really sexy, and she's a ghost though. So
that's
she's
right. She's a ghost and she loves to wear different outfits. She,
great. And then we have Mabel's the last one. She's just a plain housewife in the story who's going through all these tribulations with these ghosts in her camper as she travels across Florida. It's a very good story called Wheeler Dealer by Rita Moreau, and I had to read the book a couple of times to get the characters right. And one character that I really love is this one.
oh, that's
Who is
me.
that? That's you. Yeah, as a general. Because you
That's
always
right.
say that you should have been a general. You have to be.
At the end of the radio program, Big Ed in the control room always salutes me. And so I always salute him back and say that I should have been a general because some people think that I'm a little bossy. And I love that illustration. That's so cute. I'm using that in a series of programs about writing.
Well, thank you. That's wonderful. Did you want me to keep talking or did you have something you wanted to show?
What else do you have to show?
This one's called A Country Story. It was the very first story that I did, Patsy, for you when I was on your show. And it's about when, at the time, my niece had only 6 children, and it's about her 6 children. And then I did this little one with rope on it that's for her called First Word About the Baby when she had a 4 year old. I mean, he's 4 years old now, but he was a baby 4 years ago. She's seventh child. And one called Laugh at Yourself, where I hope the kids learn to laugh at themselves. Oh, this one just slipped in there from
Oh,
that's from another.
there I am.
There you are. You're just everywhere. And then we have I Want Your Stuff, which is a story about kids sharing for the kids. These are all for her kids. Colors of the Rainbow by for Alexander. He's the 4 year old now. So I did that for him when he was like 2. And then Do Your Homework, Titus is about him. The little boy doesn't want to do his homework. And then finally he does it after trials and tribulations. Celeste is about the oldest girl who's now 18. And I can't believe she's 18. I've known her since she was born. And then We Eat Too Much is a good one that I just made up for them. And all the animals in the book, they pop from eating too much. And then this one is a little baby again, wondering. It just has a little scripture in it that from Acts in the Bible, and her husband is like a deacon in their church. He is one that says, "Hooray, you were born," and that was about the baby. Where do you belong? Which is about each kid and where do they belong in the family. I just made that up, and this one is As the Bacons Grow, which is I did it in color for her and I kept the black and white, but it shows each season with the kids growing together and shows every holiday. Valentine's, it goes from Christmas to Valentine's Day. God is everywhere too. Happy Valentine's Day to Easter when he is risen. And then I have the oldest one playing her violin and saying Jesus is risen, to Mother's Day, to Father's Day, to the 4th of July, to Halloween, to Thanksgiving, which it is now. So I'll hold that one up to Thanksgiving. And then at the very end, it says to Christmas again, and then I forgot New Year's and New Year's again. It's got pictures of the kids and the line drawings that I do of them, and they're not perfect line drawings, but they show motion. I think it's a little like Shel Silverstein. I love Shel Silverstein. I'm so mad that he died, but I love his book, The Giving Tree. My godmother gave me that years ago, and I just love his work. It's just so amazing, and he just one word and then this wonderful poetry and another line drawing that goes with it. And they show motion and style. I love his drawings. So anyway, I did All Things Right and Beautiful, which is from the hymn for her family. And then I have one called The Bacon Bits and the Kitties, which is a bigger story that I'm like, it's a chapbook, but then I made it into a book with rings that you can do at any copy center. They will make you a book. If you want to just make a book, and it doesn't matter that it doesn't get published, you're giving them something.
Andrea, one of the things is you do these for people if they contact you, right? You'll
Yes, I do.
if they want a book about their
Mhm.
child, their grandchild, you'll do that.
I did this one on as a commission. It's just called Billy the Big Brother, and it was all about how the little boy can't eat eggs, the littlest one, and the older one helps him with not eating eggs. And I met the man at one of the fairs where I was selling my books and my cards. He said, could you do me a personalized book about my kids because they're really good to each other about this egg thing that they have. You can't eat the eggs. So I did it for him and he paid me and he met me at the coffee shop and it was very nice. So yeah, I
So,
do them
so you are,
on call.
yeah, you do that kind of thing.
I'm working on one right now that in my networking group, a lady, she's actually the director of something called Investigation Station, which is a nonprofit organization for children. It's like outdoor museums where the children can go to a park. One of them is called the astronomy one, I think. And the kids go to the park and they have stations over a mile walk that show you like how much would you weigh on the moon at one station. And then at Mars, maybe what color are you on Mars? Or they can learn from, she calls it an outdoor museum. And she's been doing it for years. And she just published a book. So she asked me to illustrate her book, which is like a dialogue about kids. And she wants the kids to or learn patience from it. That's what she wants. And it's all about, it's a story about a grandfather making pizza for the kids and how it takes too long for the grandfather to cook the pizza and the kids get really annoyed. And so he tells them a story about a squirrel and a nut while they're waiting for the pizza. And it's funny because he won't tell them the name of the tree, what kind of a tree it is. And they're like, why don't you tell us the name of the tree? What's the matter with you? And I'll tell you in a while. And he said, the squirrel was going for the biggest acorn he could see on the tree. And they were like, acorns? We know where acorns come from. They come from oak trees. It was an oak tree. And then you hear bing and the pizza's ready and it comes out and they all burn their tongues at first. And he says, you have to be patient. And then he burns his tongue. You grandfather, you have to be patient. It's a very funny little story. I love it. So I'm working on pictures for that. I don't have them right now with me, but they're of cardinal birds and they're realistic cardinals. And I want to ask her if she'd like me to intersperse some real looking birds along with the line drawings if she would like that. And I think she's on the verge. She said she liked that idea. So
Andrea,
I think it would be nice.
Andrea, I really appreciate everything you've done. As I said, this program is a Thanksgiving Day
Yeah,
program because I am so thankful for what you've done for me over the years since
thank
2018.
you.
It's just amazing. And the journals that you've done and the friendship, it's meant so much
Yeah,
to
it's
me.
great.
Being
Oh, it means
invited
so
to
much
a
to
real
me.
prop to have a real proper tea party like like you.
I can't believe I did that. Now I'm using mugs again. I'm like, I'm not sure about this teacup thing. But it was great when my grandmother did it all the time. She was great. 4 o'clock we had tea whenever I went to England.
I know.
And
That's for me.
it was wonderful. Different plum pudding and treacle tart. It was like Harry Potter days or something.
Were you ever in England at Christmas time?
No, I actually came home just before Christmas when I went to art school in London for 6 months. I was 17 and I lived in Fulham and had to travel by the tube to St. Martin's School of Art. And it wasn't what I was looking for because I really did want to be a children's book illustrator for a long time. And they were doing these really crazy, wild things and they looked at my portfolio and they said, hey, you have a great portfolio. You should not even be here. You should be in New York. That's where it's happening. So I only stayed for 6 months, but I just missed Christmas there and came back. I don't have too many relatives that live there now, just a stepsister. My European relatives all live in Switzerland, my first cousins and my aunt, and I am in touch with my first cousin and my aunt very much so on emails. So I'm grateful for them. I love them. They're wonderful people.
I hope they'll watch this Joy on Paper live and they will be able to see you.
Can they see it in Switzerland or is it only across the United States?
No, they can see it all over the world. My goodness.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. I wasn't even aware of that. That's
oh,
amazing. That's funny
YouTube.
that I didn't
YouTube
know.
is seen all over the world, and that's the
I
fantastic
did
thing
not
about it.
know that.
It's
Wow.
it is worldwide. I mentioned to you before that just a few days ago I was speaking to Sydney, Australia.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
Yes, I
All right.
I speak to people all over the world, and they have
Oh,
YouTube.
this is wonderful. You
So
have a great job.
I
Yeah,
do,
you get
I do.
so much out of it. Yeah. I'm so glad that you kept up on YouTube. I like
Oh,
YouTube
I
too, and
get to see everybody.
I can draw the people's faces. I couldn't do that before. Well, actually I did. I did it from photos that you'd send me, or I'd
Yeah.
look them up, and I did them from photos. Yeah, I did. That's right.
Okay. Andrea, I want to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving, you and George.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you.
both so much for being my friends and for doing all of the work that
Thank
you've done for
you.
me. And have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Are you cooking?
It's very unusual. My husband is Greek Orthodox. I'm making dolmades, which are grape leaves. They're rolled grape leaves. You put meat in them with other stuff. and spices, and he's a chef too, so he wanted me to make the dolmades for Thanksgiving. I'm going to be cooking those, and I'm definitely going to make a pie. I think I'm going to make an apple pie, but I'm not sure yet. But it's definitely going to be. I'm actually going to start today because I have to work on Wednesday. So I'm
Okay.
working until 8 o'clock at night on Wednesday. So I am going to make that stuff today. Some of it is ready because it's just the two of us. So I have it easy. I don't have to do turkey. I've done turkey before, though. I've done the whole meal.
You can celebrate Thanksgiving any way you like with any food you like, but have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being on Joy on Paper today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
for having me. It's wonderful. I
Okay.
love it. Thank you. Love you.
Okay. Bye bye
Bye.
now. Bye.
Bye.
The Ghost and the Camper Kooky Mystery series is hilarious. If you like Golden Girl sleuths, zany characters, and sardonic humor, then you'll love Mabel and her pals, Lily and Irma, a ghost with a past.
Wow. That was so much fun to talk to Andrea. She is wonderful. Andrea Hiotis. She's a wonderful illustrator, a wonderful human being. She's so giving and so kind and so thoughtful. And on Thanksgiving Day, I'm thankful for many things. I'm thankful for everyone who's been on my program. I want to thank all of my guests. I want to thank everybody who's helped me over the years. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. Please subscribe because I want to bring you more interviews, more books to read. Joy on paper. It's whether you write a book or whether you read a book, it is a joy. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment because authors really do appreciate comments. So please make a comment and please become a subscriber to Joy on Paper Live. Thank you. Bye bye.